As a therapist, I often get asked the question, am I okay? Am I normal? Which actually leads me to a better question. What is normal? Anxiety is actually quite normal. To experience it within your normal daily life, when there is a stimulus or a situation present, it's totally appropriate. It's uncomfortable, no doubt, and we predict it. So long as it is connected to something that is happening right here, right now, or in the immediate future, right? You're buying a house, you're moving, you have a big presentation, then we expect your body to have anxiety. That's okay. Ideally, when that situation or event goes away, so does the anxiety, and you're able to rest and recover and regain control of your own mind. However, for some individuals, that isn't the case. Normal everyday anxiety gets bigger and takes on more of our mental space. If this is the case, we start talking about a clinical diagnosis of a condition called anxiety. And although there's several types of anxiety in the world, we're just going to generally talk about the symptoms that all of the types experience. Clinical anxiety is when that fight, flight, or freeze system, that anxiety stress response system activates without an actual stimulus present. What this looks like is you're taking a shower, a perfectly nice shower, and all of a sudden it pops into your head that you need to worry about the bills to pay or your 401k or what you're going to do if your child graduates high school in 18 years and doesn't get into college. I joke, and yet that's exactly what anxiety does. It takes a perfectly good or boring moment and it invites in worry from way in the future or regret from way in the past, and it ruins this moment. When that occurs, the entire system gets dysregulated. You may notice that your heart rate increases, your palms might get sweaty, you may even experience nausea or tension headaches. Those are all signs that your sympathetic nervous system, that fight, flight, or freeze center, has activated and is preparing you to manage a threat. Unfortunately, with anxiety, the threat usually just isn't here. Individuals who are experiencing anxiety are ultimately experiencing a shift in how they experience reality. This is when we talk about neurodiversity. When we're on the neurodivergent end, we have to understand that our experience is different than someone who didn't have that condition. And anxiety is one of those conditions that changes everything about how we experience ourselves and the world around us. Now, for some people, anxiety comes with a specific symptom known as a panic attack. And these moments are horrifying and uncomfortable, and most people think that they're dying or that they're having a heart attack, and you're not, but it feels terrible. You may notice that your heart rate just goes really, really fast, really, really high. Maybe it feels like it's pounding out of your chest and you have this urge to go. The palms will get very, very sweaty. You might even feel like you are choking or it's hard time breathing. That panic attack, it's not going to last forever. Most of them are 30 seconds up to 10 minutes. So if you can, try to ground yourself to your environment. I'm going to give you something here in a couple slides to help you, but try to ground yourself in your environment and remind yourself that this will pass. For many of us who maybe don't have the panic attacks, but we're simply experiencing the anxiety with or without panic attacks, we'll also have physical and cognitive symptoms. I break it up into those two categories so we can really check our brain and our body. For a lot of individuals struggling with anxiety, they actually tune into their body before they recognize what's happening in their mind. They actually say that the average time from onset of a disorder to treatment is 11 years. So a lot of individuals are just walking around with anxiety completely unaware that they have a treatable, curable condition. Physical effects include being always tired because you're always keyed up and on edge and restless, and you have a hard time turning things off. You may experience muscle tension in your neck and shoulders, maybe even grinding your teeth at night or clenching your fists. You may have trembles where your hands shake, nausea where your stomach, well, you know what nausea is, indigestion. And a lot of times with anxiety, we observe individuals who are not able to get enough sleep. So we are having a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking up early. Now, cognitive, mental impacts of anxiety include that rumination, that cycling thoughts that just won't stop. It feels like my mind's on a hamster wheel, just churning on the problem over and over and over again. This is that restlessness. We've already covered a lot of these, just putting it all up here for collection for you. And now none of this is the DSM criteria for a diagnosis. So again, if you just think this is you, please do reach out for support because we have strategies to help you overcome anxiety. Ideally, you do reach out as soon as you notice that things are struggling. It's always easier to be on the front end of an issue than when we've gotten years down the road. Don't worry, if you're years down the road, we can still help. Anxiety is a condition that we ideally treat by trying to get you to slow down and decrease the energy intensity. Work with your EAP to get access to therapy so that we can get you some support. And in the meantime, practice some anxiety reduction strategies. Some things you can do if you wake up in the morning and you have that panic, or just in the middle of the day, you're feeling anxious. Find an activity or a hobby to engage in to distract yourself. Listen to an audiobook, go for a walk, learn something new. Another trick that I like is to make a to-do list of all the things, and then focus only on the next indicated step. Ideally, just slow down. Take time, slow down, let your body rest. If you can, reduce stress by organizing your space and setting yourself up for success. But really, my favorite intervention for anxiety is mindfulness. And all we're asking you to do to engage in mindfulness is to get present in this moment. You just need to focus on an anchor in this room. It could be my voice, it could be the sensation, and train your brain to come back to that anchor. You're going to get distracted, no worries. Your brain's going to get pulled, come back to this moment. When we do this, we actually help increase the activity in your brain that will help you combat those anxious thoughts. It helps you gain control over your anxious mind. So there's plenty of resources in the world. I would access them and try your best to engage in a mindfulness practice every single day. And now for those of you who are experiencing panic attacks, I also want to give you one of my very favorite resources if you or someone around you is having a panic attack. So all you have to do is find 5 things in your environment that you can see. And if you're guiding someone, I would say, hey, I notice you're struggling. Can you find 5 things in the environment and tell me what they are? And they'll look around and they'll find the things. You say, great. What about 4 things you can hear? Oh, I can hear the road and the clock ticking and your voice and the hum of the, fan. What about 2 things or 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste? And if you get confused and you mix up the order of those, no worries. You might get a little bit stuck trying to find 5 things you can taste, but the exercise will work just the same. So if you are stuck or someone else, ground yourself in the environment by finding the 5 senses, connecting them with different things you can see. I've also included some resources here for you. Psychology Today has 50 strategies to beat anxiety, and also how do I practice mindfulness meditation for social anxiety disorder. Thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you again.